And who better to break it all down than our man Tim McManus of ESPN, joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Tim, hey, what's up, brother?
What's going on, boys? How we doing?
All good, my man. What are you, over at the NovaCare Complex waiting for the locker room to open?
Over at the NovaCare Complex waiting for that locker room to open. You can hear the crowd noise that they're simulating on the practice field right now. I'm just like a stone's throw away. We were out at practice a little while ago, and it seemed like it was a good news from an injury standpoint. You saw Dallas Goedert back out there. Will Shipley was doing some individual drills. They look pretty healthy heading into this matchup.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you making time for us. I know you're a busy man. Look, I want to look ahead to the Rams in a second, but let's just look back. The chatter all week, all over social media, every national broadcast is about this passing attack. I mean, what are you seeing with the Eagles' passing offense?
There's a couple things. I think, number one, we have to recognize it's a small sample size, right, Bill? I mean, they've only played 2 games, and they just went up against a Kansas City defense led by Steve Spagnuolo that blitzed Jalen Hurts over 65% of the time. And not only that, but they were bringing a lot of defensive back blitzes. It forced Hurts to get rid of the ball, which he did so effectively. He's got the second highest completion rate in the NFL through 2 weeks. And so that's a part of it when you have one game like that could possibly be an outlier sort of in the big picture. Another part of it, I think, is that you have a coordinator in Kevin Patullo that still is syncing up with Hurts, which Jalen talked about yesterday. And he basically said that it's a work in progress, talking about their chemistry, saying that, you know, the synchronization will get there, and that it's important that it gets to that point so that there's not gray area. He said this is a position that you can't play in the gray. I thought that was a very telling quote. It just lets you know that this thing is they're still working through it a little bit. And so, so I think that's part of it as well. Just to say that there's some predictability that has settled in through 2 weeks, which you don't love. There has been maybe a lack of creativity in some of the passing concepts that you would like to develop over time. So a lot to clean up, but I definitely don't sit here panicked. I know the level of talent that this team possesses. I know that has been slow starts in the past, including last year. And I think it's way too early to be like, you know what, like the offensive coordinator's no good. They're in trouble. Like, I think we need to give the season a little room to breathe here.
Well, it's kind of interesting because we were going over what the Rams look like, and their passing defense right now is 4th in the league, which tends you to believe that the Eagles are going to come out running the football, and that's probably not what the fan base would love. But what are you thinking they're going to do this Sunday?
Well, I think first you try the run for sure, given the recent history between the Eagles and the Rams. I mean, I was looking up those numbers, and I knew that Saquon went crazy, but like I had to double check myself. I was like, did he really run for 460 yards in 2 games against the Rams last year? That's an insane number, 460 yards in 2 games. And, so why wouldn't you test that out? Now, the running game hasn't had that same level of explosiveness yet through 2 games. When you talk to the offensive linemen like Jordan Mailata, they say, it's just basically 1 block away. They've been running into a ton of 8-man boxes. That's definitely been one of the storylines here early on now. Like over 80% of the runs have been into 8-man boxes, and so Barkley's really going up against it. But there's opportunity there, as Mailata pointed out. And the Rams gave them a lot of 8-box looks in their matchups with them. And let's take that divisional matchup in particular. Last year, there was 8 times where the Rams showed Saquon an 8-man box, and he went for over 95 yards and a touchdown in those circumstances. If he breaks through that first level, forget about it. And then in theory, what happens off of that is if you can get that ground game going like you're hoping to, and then you can get some of those matchups one-on-one outside. And I think the Eagles would love the idea of A.J. Brown versus Emmanuel Forbes. It's worked well for them before. I think it can again. So there's definitely a recipe here to get this offense going against the Rams, even though, to your point, they've started out pretty good.
We're talking to Tim McManus. Look at me, Tim. I can't even say your name today. Talking to Tim McManus of ESPN on the Comcast Business Hotline. All right, Tim, you were just talking about the Eagles' offense going up against the Rams' defense. Let's look at the other side. Rams' offense, a lot of weapons. We know how good Sean McVay is. How do you think this Eagles' defense matches up?
So the first thing that goes into my mind is Adoree Jackson. He did okay against the Chiefs, did not have a great game against Dallas. And what's the difference there? Well, the Chiefs didn't have a whole lot going for them at the wide receiver position in week 2. In week 1, Dallas has a pretty formidable duo. And now you're going up against probably the best 1-2 that you're going to face all season. Doesn't get much better than Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I just got done watching their game last week against the Titans. And, number one, Stafford is not getting hit a whole lot. He's like 37 years old, but he still is kind of wily and finds a way to roll to a spot where the pressure isn't. And that allows the routes to develop downfield. And Nacua and Adams are just able to take advantage of their one-on-one matchups and really make some hay with it. So I don't know that it's a great matchup, honestly, for the Eagles, given what they can do to the secondary. I think this is a really big test. Like the way that Vic Fangio put it this week when I asked him about Jackson, when he was like, I thought he did better in week 2, and hopefully that kickstarts him into being a good corner for us. I mean, this would be as big a spot as any. If they can sort of stay buttoned up defensively in that secondary and allow the front 4 to do its work, that's a recipe for success. But that's still a big question mark heading into this matchup.
Tim, what would you say would be the weakest part of the Rams' offensive prowess?
I mean, they're good. They're good at all the skill position players. I'd say, Higbee is a really good player for them. So maybe if you're looking at somewhere along the offensive line, and we know that the Eagles can take advantage with some of their matchups there. So Jalen Carter, let's highlight him for a second. If you're able to get that pressure up the interior, Ricky, then that's going to change the whole outlook for the Rams pass operation. And all of a sudden you don't have that kind of time that Stafford has been allotted in previous weeks. And, when Fangio was asked about Carter this week, he brought up his conditioning. And I thought that was really evident in that game last week against the Chiefs. There were flat-out plays that it looked like he just didn't have anything in the tank, wasn't able to really generate anything. And then he had the moments where he looked like Jalen Carter. But moving forward, you're going to need that consistency out of him. I think that Jordan Davis has taken a really nice step over the first 2 weeks of this season, where he's playing more and he's being more productive. And you're going to need sort of that star power next to him and Carter to really help that engine run. I think that's if you're circling matchups, let's look at the interior of that offensive line, defensive line, and Jalen Carter sort of having his breakout game.
All right, Tim. Eagles are 2-0. Rams are 2-0. On Sunday night, who's 3-0?
I'm going to go with the Rams in this one.
Oh, man.
Dead silence here.
I know.
Yeah.
Tim, I haven't given my formal prediction yet, but I might be there with you.
Yeah, so it basically comes down to this for me. The Rams' offense is up and running. Just watch them. I mean, they can. It flat out is, and their defense is playing well. They have 2 awesome edge rushers, and they have a defense that's flying around. I just don't know if the Eagles' offense is quite ready for primetime yet. And this is a really good matchup. This is a season full of really good matchups. But this is one of the better teams that they're going to be facing. And this 2-game stretch here is a tough one. They go down to Tampa next. We all know what their history there is. I feel like they're going to drop one of those games, and maybe it ends up being next week. But because of the sort of state of the respective offenses, I'm going to give an edge to the Rams in this one.
All right, Tim. We hope you're wrong, but we appreciate the insight as always, my brother.
All right. Sounds good. Always good talking with you guys. Talk to you soon.
You have a good one. There he is, Tim McManus of ESPN. Always good, man. He always gives us good stuff. But
he's very honest.
Yeah, and I have some similar fears, man.
Right, but, he could have taken the other road and said, well, I think the Eagles pull this one out late or something.
What's up, everybody? It's Bill Colarulo from Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we post a ton of content. It's not just what you hear on air. We're posting content all day long. We do some things before the show, after the show, even stuff during the show. So subscribe, do whatever you got to do. We got all this content coming to you every single day.